guys, it's Kevin Frasard back once again with another video. This one I thought I would address the question I get very often from a lot of you guys that are just starting to play guitar or interested in taking up guitar, is what to do for a beginner. Like if you're a beginner, you're just starting out. I'm going to cover a few things, and what I wanted to do is I always play Metallica No Remorse. Like I really like that song. That was always like my go-to. It's like my favorite Metallica song. I was just going to do a cover of it, just me jamming it, but what I thought I'd do is, since that's a very good beginner kind of song, like your first year or two into guitar playing, because it covers like all bases of incorporating different finger positions and stuff like that. It's a really good gateway to get into, a little more complicated kind of stuff as far as your metal and your thrash is concerned. What I thought I would do is touch on these points for the beginners, and then I will play that song for you guys in this video. So a good thing to start with, I think, it would be, don't buy a cheapo, just piece of crap guitar, because you're not going to sound good when you end up picking up a guitar that just it's built really poorly and it just feels real sluggish, and you're going to sound just like as cheap as the guitar is when you're trying to learn stuff, and you're going to get frustrated and give up. Luckily, back in the day when I started playing guitar, I kind of picked up like it was like a mid-level guitar. It was the brand was called Lady Luck. It was like a Fender Strat copy. I've tried to find pictures of it to show you guys what I was talking about. Pretty much what it was is it had the Fender Strat body. It had that cover plate that went around. You had 3 single coil pickups. It was a lot like what Kirk Hammett played back in the Metallica 1 video. It was like that guitar. I think that was a Hammer or something like that he was playing in that one. I can't quite remember, but I wanted that guitar. I wanted something that looked a lot like that, or like in the Wayne's World movie, if you guys remember that guitar, that Fender Strat. Yeah, I wanted something that looked like that as my beginner's guitar. But what I would recommend is, if you're looking for a metal, thrash metal kind of guitar, just something metal is concerned, Jackson definitely. Like this guitar here, this is kind of a middle of the road guitar. This is hit myself in the face. This is just a Jackson SLXT. This model I think is a 2013 model, and it's still got stock pickups in it. They ain't the greatest, but as far as the overall build quality for what you pay for on this guitar, I got it pretty cheap too. If you guys are ever looking around, I recommend too, if you're gonna pick up if you want to find like a mid-level guitar, Reverb, even Guitar Center, where I got this one, I got this thing at a really good price. And I like it a lot. It just needs new pickups, but if you guys are looking for your first mid-level guitar is the way to go, definitely. So you're willing to spend between $300, $500, maybe even $600 around there to get something that's halfway decent, so you don't just sound like complete crap when you're trying to learn how to play. ESP is another really good brand. They got their stuff comes out of Korea, and their stuff is built pretty good. They'll throw some better pickups in there, and they're made of really good materials. They got good components on there. BC Rich is making a really strong comeback. I wanted to do a video on that. That will be down the road when we get some more information from them, because I'm still kind of sitting back and seeing what they're coming out with as far as anything on top of their 50-year anniversary models, because those ones are a little bit pricey. So let's see, we got ESP, we got Jackson, and you can find some pretty good BC Riches at decent prices. So if any of you guys have any other suggestions for anybody else that's looking to start playing guitar, yeah, drop them in the comments below. So yeah, you want to start with a halfway decent guitar, and then pick songs that are like a lot of the early 90s grunge songs. Those really will get your fundamentals going as far as how to strum and just power chords in general. Just basic easy songs. Like the other day too, when I did that Linkin Park cover, I kind of made it my own, but just songs like that, just to dabble and mess around with, will definitely help you along the way as far as just getting your basics down, because that's what it's going to be about. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew when you're learning how to play guitar, because you will get frustrated and give up. That's happened to a lot of people. And then like for me, I had so much time when I was a kid. Didn't have any distractions like this internet stuff that distracts a lot of people, and causes people to get frustrated and give up too. I just had nothing but time when I was a kid, between being on my BMX bike and playing guitar. I'd spent hours and hours just playing, just trying to do stuff, and then eventually I was able to pick it up pretty good. Yeah, I never had any lessons or anything either. I just kind of learned on my own, because back then When my parents got divorced, it was me, my mom, and my sister. So I just had plenty of time. That was actually another thing too that I added in one of my Q&As, like how I got into guitar and stuff like that. Really, it was when my parents got divorced, I ended up getting into this kind of music just based on when I heard it and playing it. It was a representation of how I felt inside. And the aggression of the music was kind of like how I was feeling at the time, and that's why I got into metal as much as I did. But to switch gears here, what else could I cover on that? Obviously get yourself kind of a halfway decent amp. Now, I have two Line 6s. They're not the greatest amps, especially now that I've had a chance to compare other amps as I've been jamming with my one buddy, because I went for a few years. I originally owned a Line 6 Spider back in whenever it first came out. I can't quite remember, but I liked that one. That one sounded okay, so I ended up picking it up, and I had that one for a few years back then I think it was like the mid 2000s when I had that one, and then sold that one, and then I think I just had my half stack or something like that for a while, and I wasn't really playing too much. I was plugging in the computer too. That's what I was doing. And then I ended up picking up these, I think these are Spider 4s that I got, and thinking that I was going to be able to duplicate the same sound that I got from the original Spider, but that wasn't the case. As I started farting around with the knobs and stuff, really, when you get the Spider, whatever presets are on there, when you try to shape your sound, you're not getting it. It's all one-dimensional, and there's nothing you can do to, even when you like try to crank the bass or the mid-range or anything, it just, you got just a crap tone what you're stuck with. And yeah, now that I've been able to go to the guitar store and plug in other stuff, I definitely can tell a difference between those other amplifiers that I've plugged into and these ones. But yeah, if you're gonna record with it, I highly recommend you don't do that, because you're not gonna get a good sound out of these. But if you're just like jamming in your room, like what I do a lot of times when I'm coming up with stuff, it's just okay. But I would recommend definitely get something else. Like I really like those Black Star amps. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with those. Those are excellent amps for metal. Get a lot of really good sound out of those. We've been jamming those Guitar Center videos that we've been posting. When him and I jam together, I've been plugging into a Black Star amp, and I want to pick one up. When I get some extra money laying around, I definitely want to do that. Then down the road, I was already looking earlier to get a bass guitar. I kind of want to get a 5-string ESP Forest. Another thing too that's a little bit off topic as far as what kind of equipment to use is just be around people that are actually uplifting, that are positive, people that aren't going to discourage you. Oh, why are you playing guitar? Why are you wasting your time with that? You'll never be any good. Just stay away from people like that. Just try to surround yourself around people that actually boost you up instead of kick you down. So yeah, just a quick little thing to throw in there before I start playing this song for you guys. Now what I'm going to do is I got my metronome. I think this one is, let me see, I got this one online. It's just a little app, Soundbrenner. That's the one I got. So we will start at, I'll put it on 210 BPM, and we'll see how it goes from there. And maybe if I want to have a little fun and kind of push myself, maybe I'll take it up a couple notches. So let's see what happens. Couple things too on this guitar before I start ripping. I'll just show you a little more on it. This one's a neck through design, so it's very, very comfortable. It's got a very, very flat neck on it too. Jacksons are very known for that kind of stuff as far as shred goes, and just overall comfort and playability. You can just rip on these things. Strung through, it's just a simple strung through design. So yeah, you don't have to worry about any of the headaches that can come with having a Floyd Rose. Ooh, that might work. another thing that I've always really liked about this particular Metallica song is how well-rounded it is for not only, picking up, covering your bases as far as all 4 fingers on the fretboard, but move down to your picking hand. It's a good song to kind of pick up that endurance with down picking too, because it doesn't completely crush you and waste you like a song like Master of Puppets would do, where it's like brutal for most of the song. This one you get a little bit of breaks, like for instance on the second riff. So you just get that, and you get little bits of breaks, but it helps, just get the feel for down picking, but without completely, where you just got to keep moving, like a song like Master of Puppets, where it's just. If you're not at that level yet, this No Remorse song is a great way to kind of break yourself in and learning the down pick fundamentals. So this is another riff too on here where this becomes more challenging, but there's 2 ways you can do this one. So you can do all down picking like this. Once you get to that point, or just keep working on it. Obviously, you don't start that fast. You can start. You can start like that, and then eventually work your way up. Just keep working your way up. If you want to focus on the other technique as far as going down, 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 then upstroke, downstroke, let me show you what I'm talking about, where it'll help with your string skipping a little bit. You can do it this way. That'll help you build that up as well if you're not quite ready for the down picking. And as you progress, you can just keep having a little fun with it, keep pushing yourself. hard to hear that click track at times. The other question that I get often a lot too, and this is a good way to piggyback onto this video because I know this question will probably come up anyway, so I might as well answer it right now, is do I ever get tired from, you know, all the excess speed picking and down picking? Yeah, I absolutely do. Like for instance, when I was just pushing myself to the 230 BPM, there was periods of time where it was starting to kind of get to me. But you know, you just keep pushing through. Like I haven't played thrash metal or any death metal stuff, and it's been about a week. I've been working all week, and yeah, when we get older, we don't have the same kind of time as we did when we were younger, and it depends on what you're doing too, as far as, you know, your occupation and any other things that you do. But what you try to do is just, you know, spend as many hours, or even if you can take an hour a day to just work on things like that, just to kind of keep that up to shape. But yeah, I definitely fatigue just like everybody else. Luckily, a lot of my endurance carries me through to, you know, push myself through that. And I've said this many times in, you know, previous uploads that I didn't have a guitar teacher, so I had nobody to show me. So one of the first you know, players that I saw was Jeff Hanneman, actually, and I think it was in Ditto Head. I think I saw that video first, and I can just remember, you know, it was limited back then when we were younger, didn't have the YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So I would see Jeff, he would kind of pick like this. It was like from the elbow. He was just using a lot of power, a lot of force. So I didn't know any better. I thought that was the way you had to do it, and I never really watched how Kerry did it. But Jeff was just, there was something about Jeff's playing that just really inspired me. I'm like, man, he just puts so much effort into it. It's so cool. It's so freaking powerful. So I wanted to play like Jeff. And I thought that was the way to do it, so that's just kind of how I did it, and I never really unlearned myself. I mean, I've gotten better over the years as far as not using as much of that, because I used to just, man, when I used to down pick, it was all elbow. But now it's, I've been able to, you know, kind of limit that a little bit more as far as just straight down picking is concerned. I've learned that. The other thing too is I've gotten better equipment also a lot, you know, throughout the years. So that's another thing. When you get into equipment, your pickups are going to dictate how hard you got to pick also when you're doing your down picking. Like for instance, this is the hardest guitar as far as trying to get good volume with your down picking and things like that. You got to use a little more force, a little more power to get the notes to really shine and cut through, because these pickups are just crap. And then we get into, if I were to rate this from, because my three guitars right here, so I got this Jackson, and then we got the BC Rich KKV. That is my favorite guitar still. This one's more comfortable than that one. This is still the most comfortable guitar that I've ever played. That's the Washburn Parallax Ola England signature model. That's got Mick Thompson blackouts in it. That thing's very comfortable, one of the most comfortable flying V's I've ever played in my life. But when we're talking about down picking and just getting overall volume where you just don't have to use as much overall effort to make shit happen, for lack of a better word, that guitar definitely schools everything that I have right here. So a lot of those really sick fast down picking passages that I have, it's because of the setup in there. That's got the Kerry King EMG 8185 set, and then it's got an extra booster in it. And that's how I'm able to really get into those down picks. You get a lot more volume out of it, and you just don't have to hit as hard. So you know, it's kind of like I try to down pick as much as possible on a lot of stuff. Sometimes, I mean, it's not always necessary, but it's just, to me, the down picking is like the 1 foot blast of guitar, and I try to use that as often as possible. It's heavy. A lot of things I do too when I'm warming up is I won't necessarily just try to play songs or anything when I'm just getting started. Like if I'm really trying to warm up my wrists and my fingers and everything, I'll do things like this, where I'll just sit in front of the TV, I'll just put something on and I don't really care about, just have something just playing, I'll kill the volume on it or whatever, and I'll just sit there and I'll just kind of do this, just to get everything loose, just to get everything moving, just try to get blood in there. Whether it sounds good or doesn't sound good, doesn't matter. You're just trying to get everything nice and loose. So when you actually do start playing your songs or working on your riffs that you're coming up with, you know, you'll already be there. You'll be good and warmed up, so it won't be as taxing or frustrating for you. And as I'm starting to get a little more warmed up, where I'm feeling like I'm able to push a little bit harder right before I actually start to practice and play around with my ideas, I'll kind of do short bursts of down, like we're talking about down picking. I could make just tons of videos on down picking because that's always the number one asked question, but when I'm just trying to get everything going, if I feel like I'm getting a little more warmed up, I'll just I'll start taking a little less breaks out of it, where it'll just be a longer duration that I'm down picking. Captor of Sin, good warm up for your first, second, and fourth fingers. Even Seasons in the Abyss, you know, if you're at a slower tempo or you're still trying to learn your down picking. And the super classic Raining Blood. This is a bit harder of a push, Spirit in Black. You guys will know this one too. I used to fart around with this all the time when I was a kid, just to get the feel of everything. Like I touched on in the beginning of the video, just stick to a lot of the basics. Like this would be like another progression. If you're not quite there, just start slow. Just keep pushing yourself.